All right, well, welcome to this edition of Fischertechnik's tutorials. We're going to talk about the basic building blocks of the Fischertechnik system. It involves these small nylon blocks. This is the most common building block there is. It has really 6 sides that you can connect to. There is a kind of, I'll call it a nub on one end. On the other end is a slot, or I should say the other 5 sides are slotted. You can see the slots on each side there. Older ones, just the same. These were produced going back into the 80s and 70s. A lot of the sets had these gray blocks. Most of the current sets have the black blocks. Same thing. This is a girder. A girder is a lighter weight version. These are also a little bit less expensive to buy. They have a nub on one end, a little more difficult to connect to. You only have 2 of the sides along the long edge of it that you connect with rivets. So it's kind of a cool connecting system. This is probably the last style of block. This is an aluminum block. These are really cool. There's only 2 sizes and they're very long. This one's 90 millimeters and the other one I think is 210. This is nice, but much more expensive, but very, very cool for building larger structures. And you can see here's a much longer girder. There's all different kinds of these girders. They're angled, they're curved. This is just a sampling of the blocks. There's over 500 Fischertechnik parts. Let's just show you how these connect. So I've got a couple of these. I can just slide that kind of nib thing or nub or whatever you want to call it down any of the slots to make a different structure. You can connect these things like this. There's a little slot on the bottom that is rounded, and most of these slots are round on this one here. And they're very, very interchangeable. What's kind of cool about this is that you can take an axle and slide it through, and you can get a nice rotation of the axle through any of these slots. So you have lots of capability for placing axles into these various slots. This is a smaller one here. So these are, each one of these blocks are, I believe, 30 millimeters. This one here is 15. These are, again, probably the most basic fundamental building blocks of the Fischertechnik system. Sometimes these only have kind of that nub on one end. Sometimes you'll want a nub on both ends. You can use this little red nub thing here and slide it into a slot. It's going to give you an extra edge to connect with. You can also add that really in any of these. So this is very, very useful for adding one of these kind of nubs wherever you want on these structures. There's also longer connectors as well that fit into these to give more rigidity or more strength to the models that you create. So there's a variety of these connectors that are possible. You also have these short connectors which add a little more length, and either can add a nub or still a slot on the end. So again, a little more length with a slot on the end. Then real quickly attaching the girders. You may want to maybe creating something large, like a structure like a bridge model or something like that, or some part of a factory. You can add these trusses. Now this truss has been extended with a little extension piece on it. Let me take that off. There's lots of these different types of extension pieces that create star patterns and other cool structures with these girders. So I can attach a girder. So you can see this doesn't have a lot of strength, kind of pretty wobbly. Let's fix that. You just slide in the rivet. There's 2 sizes of rivets. This is the smaller one, probably the most useful one. There's also a little bit longer one for putting a larger thickness of girders together. Now you can see that certainly, at least in a couple dimensions, we have a much sturdier structure. That's pretty much it. Well, everything I wanted to cover today for the basic building blocks of the Fischertechnik system. Thanks for watching.